Welcome back to Oz American Aces NRL. It is round 13, but more importantly, it is Origin, and we have a huge Origin special show for you as well. But welcome back, boys, Woodsy and, of course, Ash. Let's just really cover off real quick the upsets of last weekend. 0 from 5.
Tipster's nightmare. Can we just move on?
Yeah.
I was 1 from 5.
No, we can't.
What were you, mate?
We can't. I got none from 5.
Owen.
We can't move on because...
Owen.
Yeah, Owen 5. Well, are you... On last week's episode, you blatantly called me an idiot for picking the Knights, which I did backflip on the end because I felt like...
So you're an idiot.
Know.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
So either way, I'm an idiot, but you were just like, oh, you're a bloody idiot. And then, boom, they won. So
Well, it's the underdog win percentage is the highest it's been after 12 rounds in 16
Crazy.
seasons. It's
Crazy.
44%.
Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
And they're all 13 pluses as well. Wasn't like it was just small. Who honestly, who tips the Sharks to lose to the Roosters like that and
Yeah.
to leak 44 points? They got no players in Origin.
yeah.
The Roosters have got 5 of their big guns out. Wow, like that's just the Roosters. They're a good side, and a lot of us didn't tip. I didn't have them in my 8.
No.
Geez, they're proving me wrong.
I know, they sort of... Those young guys coming through, far out. Like, I
Yeah.
thought they weren't just like... They didn't just win. They were dominantly winning that game. And like...
Well, we're kind of seeing that next man up mentality.
Good young
which
front row,
they're-
Faketi. I love him. Good
Do you?
player. Yeah, real good player.
Who's the half that played?
Sandon Smith
the other
or Saval?
Yeah, he was good, hey?
Well, we're going to start diving into some of the up-and-coming as well, too, in the next few episodes. But today, it's all about Origin. Welcome back, Brent Tate, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey, g'day crew, how are we? Let's hope that underdog theme continues because Queensland well and truly entrenched as underdogs for Wednesday night. So let's hope that theme continues.
Can I just say this has been one of the most boring run-ins to Origin I've seen in years. There has been sweet FA in terms of conflict and like calling out. I mean, we had Gus Gould calling Queenslanders pumpkin heads, which Tatey, I'm sure like you took that as a compliment.
Well, after midnight, the pumpkin does come on most times, so it's probably a fair shout from Gussie. But yeah, it's actually been a really quiet, subdued build-up. Yeah, no one calling anyone a cat or a sook, hey, Woodsy.
Tate, do you feel that all of the social media and what the journos do now, like they're a bit worried to build it up, like to say what they really want to say?
When have journos ever been like worried to say what they want to say?
No, the players
Oh,
are
the
worried about the
players.
journos.
Yeah, I think they are worried, mate, because if there is one slip up, obviously the media do jump all over and it becomes headline news, which you don't really want going into Origin. I mean, it's so competitive anyway. You don't want to fuel any other team's desire to win on the night. So I do think there is an element of that, mate, but far out, it has been really quiet. Maybe we've got to unmuzzle a couple of the mouthpieces from New South Wales and Latrell and
And I was going to say, what do you guys make of the media ban on both Crichton, in Stephen Crichton and Latrell, where they've just stepped away and shied away from any media
They're
comment
still
whatsoever?
doing media, though. Like, I keep seeing them on my feed, and I'm like, are you on a media ban?
I don't think they know if they're on it or not, because Spencer Leniu did one with, I think, Cooper Johns and
Yeah.
Shemi on another topic, and, mate, I don't get it. Like, I'd
So
love
they're
to
on
see it.
General media ban. Like, they're not doing media at training sessions, but they're going and doing podcasts probably where they're getting paid. on the
Except for the
side.
trolls.
Yeah, they're not doing the...
What about when you were in Camp Tate? Was there any ones that you knew where you had to sort of stir the pot a bit and throw a few barbs out there? Obviously, you always had the baiting Paul Gallen who would just take everything hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. Oh, mate, not particularly. Again, you're sort of really mindful of what you say when you're going into camp and you're doing interviews, but we always knew we'd get a fair bit from Gal. He was always good for a quote and good for a fire up. I think that the day he called us all two heads was that was a cracker. That went up on the wall in the dressing room. But yeah, look, I guess that is disappointing because we do want to hear from Spencer. Look, I want to hear from those guys because mate, they are entertaining. Like they bring the passion and the fire to Origin. So look, I'm disappointed they're not talking because. Yeah, I mean, it all adds to it. But, look, at the end of the day, if we have a great game Wednesday night, we're not going to be talking about the build-up. All we're going to be talking about is the game. And, there's the passion and fire for Origin, it'll be exactly the same come Wednesday night. It'll be no different to what it's been for the last 20-odd years.
All right, Tatey, I've got one for you. Put your coach's hat on. Game time comes around. You've got to name the team list. Is there going to be any late changes for Queensland?
Yeah, look, I definitely think Bo Fermor comes into the starting side for Ruben Cotter. I definitely think that is a change Billy will make. A couple of reasons for that. I think it stops Bo from being nervous sitting on the bench. He can play big minutes as well. And I just think the impact that Ruben can bring on with his leg speed through the middle of the park when those bigger guys start to tire. So that'd be a change that I'd make, and for those specific reasons. So, I think he's a ready-made player for Origin, Bo Fermor. So I'm really excited about what he's going to bring come Wednesday night. But other than that, mate, I think it'll be as per, and it'll be interesting to see what the Blues do too. There's a bit of talk about Max King starting and, a couple of guys like that. So, see what happens.
I figure we might as well try and get some comments from you and Woodsy, because obviously there's not enough in the media at the moment. Are you down for a couple of questions and see if we could stir some...
Yeah, far away. As I said, Woodsy's called me a sook and a cat before in the media, so, I mean...
Who hasn't
I've never
called
really
a sook
gotten
and a
over it,
cat?
to be honest.
He
but
just called
anyway.
me a sook and a cat before we started.
It's like it's just my language.
Yeah.
Should see how I
haven't
call my
been
missus
called it
each
yet.
morning.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit you both up, both answers on this, and Ash, chime in if any of these sort of tickle your fancy. Who was the most underrated Origin teammate that fans never gave credit to?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Ash Harrison. Played plenty of Origin matches through that 8 series wins that we had. Played on the left edge. And a lot of the times you used to see Greg Inglis, getting on the outside of his opponents. And a lot of the time it was from Ash Harrison and his ability to be able to ball play on that edge. So underrated, never got the raps he deserved. But as a Queenslander and as a teammate, loved him, respected him, and he was one hell of a player.
These are the ones easy for us as players. For me, it was Josh Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
He never got the accolades that probably,
Agreed.
the likes of Jared Haynes and all that did. But Jeezy used to work hard out, would put him on an edge, would put him in the middle, and he'd just do a job defensively. He was like a brick wall. And he was one guy that you look left to right, and you got Josh Jackson there. You were always pretty calm and pretty confident going into the game.
He was non-stop. I remember
Yeah.
watching him my whole teenagehood in my 20s and he was just always there. And also, he would be chasing down people that off a line break.
Tough as they come. He had a really bad. He had to get injections in his back every couple of weeks. Arthritic back.
Was it arthritis?
Arthritis, yeah, one of the toughest humans you'll meet.
Oh, wowza.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Who was the most surprising Origin pick that actually paid off? So someone where it could be current during your era, but an era beforehand, someone that sort of surprised you, and then double surprised you by having an absolute belter.
Well, I've got two because I can't separate them. One I didn't have the chance to play with when that happened, but in 2001 when Wayne brought Alfie back from England,
Yeah.
that was an absolute genius masterstroke from Wayne. Queensland were dead and buried. I think they got pumped in the first game. To bring Alfie back into the side, it changed the whole dynamic of the Origin series, and obviously he went out and brained them. So that was one that stood out for me, and one that I got to play with was Adam Mogg. Moggy, was I think a 27 or a 28-year-old first grade debutant. Got thrust into playing Origin, and mate, that game and two games in 2006. I think he scored a few tries, and he was brilliant. He just did a great job for us. Scored tries, saved tries. And he was just it was one of those picks where bloody hell, where's this come from? I didn't even really know who Moggy was at the time. But come back and he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Mine was I've got two as well. Okay. The first one was as a comeback as well, similar to Tatey, 2005, the GOAT, Andrew Johns, just coming back. Obviously the season before has the ACL, misses a fair chunk, comes back, breaks his jaw early in the season, and he only come into the game, I think it was the last couple of sessions, Trent Barrett goes down, and just the game he had. Did you play that one, Tatey? Were you out there?
Mate, I actually can't even bloody remember.
Yeah, they don't remember when they lose
Queenslanders.
But that was phenomenal, and that stuff gives me goosebumps, and I love Joe. He's one of my favourites. And another one surprised one was the combination. I got to play with these two blokes, the halves in 2014. You got Josh Reynolds and Trent Hodgson going up against the likes of Smith, Slater, Cronk, Thurston. To beat them in that series was just unbelievable. So, they were they were massive underdogs. You don't normally hear that from New South Welshmen, but yeah, we were that serious.
Teddy's like, that's our comment. What about in terms of speeches? I mean, I know you guys tend to get a lot of people that come in to camps all the time as well. I know Choppy Close, Chris used to go in and do some almighty speeches during Origin camp, but was there one in particular that sort of sets it apart in terms of that gave you goosebumps and really sort of all had you on your feet?
It's not a pre-game speech, but I'll never, ever forget Darren Lockyer's speech behind the line in 2006. I think when Steve Menzies scored in Melbourne in the third game. I think we were 14 points behind or something like that. New South Wales scored off what we thought was a blatant knock-on. And the wheels had completely come off. Like, there was 8 minutes to go. You know, everyone was absolutely losing their mind, screaming and yelling at the ref. And I'll never, ever forget Lockie got us on behind the try line, just told us all to shut up. He just kept it really calm. Like, he was a great leader, Lockie. And like, when everything was just going berserk, his level of calmness in that moment was awesome. And I'll never, ever forget, he just told us to settle down. He just basically said, if we get back to the process, he goes, I promise you guys we'll win this game. We just need to kick off and have a good set of six. Brought our focus right back, calmed everyone down. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're kidding, Lockie. Like, we've lost. And, you know, just to hear what he had to say, his calmness, and then we went and obviously kicked off, had a really good set of six. The game turned. We end up, you know, he scored the winning try and we won that series. But, you know, Lockie also in that series too was told that if we lost the series, you know, he wouldn't be captain and be out of the Queensland side. So he had more to lose than anyone. But his calmness in that moment when we were 14 down with 8 to go, mate, his speech was incredible. And, I get goosebumps even thinking about it now. He was a hell of a leader, Lockie.
You scored in that game, didn't you? You scored the second try on that comeback?
I think it was a 70-metre try, mate. No big deal. But, yeah, I think it was something like that.
There you go. I'll give you a little layup into that one.
That one really pissed me off.
Thanks, Ash.
Tate actually he's a big game, big moments player, Tate. That's what I loved about him and also hated about him being a New South Welshman. Yeah. Mine wasn't really a speech. It was in the 2014 Game 1 up at Suncorp Stadium. Like, we're going up there to play. It's one of the hardest things for a New South Welshman to go up Queensland's home ground. And I remember in the sheds before the game, watching a particular player, like, I was sitting there really nervous, and I don't really get too nervous that much, but knowing how big this game was, I was watching Jared Hayne, and he was just, this was when he was at the height of his powers before he went to the NFL, and he was doing like, you know, like the hamstring stretch where you sit on your bum and you're touching your toes, and then he'd roll back onto his shoulders, and he was singing like a Fijian hymn. It was like he was just in his own world, like watching everybody. Like, you look at Trent Merrin, you look at Gal, the intensity like in their eyes, and they're about to go out, play 80 minutes, they've got to go run a brick wall. But then you look at a bloke like Jared Hayne and how calm he was and how relaxed. It resonated with the group. Like, it just flowed off. And I think when a lot of the blokes were watching, like, he was singing, he had his headphones on, and I'm like, I'm watching this before an Origin. Like, if this bloke is in the right headspace, and I'm so happy to go out there and go with him. And the performance that he put on that night was unbelievable. And I remember going out there knowing that I had him there. Geez, you felt like you were nearly invincible.
Was it hard not to absorb different energies in that sort of team environment? You're very individual. There's some that, you know, need to hype up. There's some that need to get angry. There's some that sing Fijian hymns.
Well, you look at, we had a different crew with us. Like, you have the blokes like Hoffy, Ryan Hoffman, Bo Scott, like, they are just so serious. It's not funny. Trent Merrin was one. He'd put his headphones in and you just wouldn't even bother talking to him. Then I had other blokes like James Tarmow, Robbie Farrell. Like, I knew what they were like. Like I said, Hainsey, Tony Williams. You had one scale, like, they were so tense and you felt like you just couldn't talk to them. And on the other scale, you had blokes that just wanted to talk about what's happening playing FIFA and all that. Like, it was just really weird, the balance. But it sort of, it helped, because if I got stuck around Bo Scott and Hoffman for too long, it'd be way too intense. But then you go around Birdie and, you know, all that, they sort of bring you back to that, why are you here? You're here to have fun. Yeah.
Was that the same for you, Tatey?
Well, it's funny. You're talking about that, Woodsy. Look, I reckon in an Origin match, especially at Suncorp, like, it's eerily quiet in the dressing room. Like, you can almost cut the nervous energy in that dressing shed. And I think one of the moments that it'll never, ever leave me is, like, every time someone walks out the tunnel doors, door opens and shuts and you can hear the roar and the noise out there. But that 2-minute bell, where you get in a huddle and you're just about to walk up the race, and then they open those tunnel doors at Suncorp. Like I've got literally goosebumps now. Like I cannot explain to you the force or the thickness of the atmosphere. Like it hits you in the face as you're walking out, and mate, it is just something else. I can't even.
Well, Tate, that was going to say, how good is it? Like doing the warm-up inside, because you don't get to see what's happening outside, or you don't get to see any of the pre-show. Normally in NRL games, you're out there warming up, getting yourself ready, getting a feel for the energy. But like they tell you, when you're doing your long run-throughs, you're doing it in the hallways, and then, like you said, when that door opens, like I said, I've got goosebumps as well talking about it now. It's unbelievable.
It's like when you open the oven and that big breath of hot air comes out.
With an
My eyebrows still there.
Yeah.
Ash, should nearly blow that moustache off, mate. That's how.
Oh, man. A strong breeze would blow this bad boy off.
What about players you guys played with, and after the game during Origin, you walked away with way more respect than probably what you had going into it?
Oh,
it could have even been a player you played against, and respect completely changed.
Honestly, when I think about that, like I got to play with like Cam Smith, Billy Slater, JT, and honestly, almost every game that I come off and I'd sit down and I'd look at those guys, I used to just sit there and like I'd be amazed at what they were able to do on a footy field and how they were able to move the chess pieces by a kick here or a show and go here. Like they were just incredible players. So honestly, when I walked off the field sometimes and JT had iced the game or Cam had a blind, I would just sit there some days in that shed and just look at them and go, mate, how are you so bloody good? I used to just, marvel at their brilliance. So, I guess I'm lucky enough that I went through a really unbelievable period in Queensland's time. But those guys seriously were incredible. Like, as I said, they could move the chess pieces by a kick or a pass or a big tackle here. But, mate, they were brilliant what they were able to do.
I mean, Woodsy, you've spoken about the how war-torn everyone was after that 2014 Origin game. But that aside, if you want to go check that one out, check our other podcast episodes. But was there a player that you sort of saw selected, stood beside you, that your respect just blew up?
Oh, there's two. It's the twins, the Morris twins. I think Beamos fractured his shoulder, and he came up with a huge tackle on Darius Boyd in the corner. I think nearly to win this thing. We were in the lead to save us the game. We spoke to J-Moz last week on the podcast when I think he tore his PCL or MCL, one of them, and he gets back up and makes a big tackle on Greg Inglis. They're the players, like, you do things that you don't normally do. It's one of those games, but actually a Queenslander. This one kills me. This one kills me.
This is big.
And it's a mate of Tate's, I think. Poor Bowman. If you remember, he just got on the field at this one stage and he made his first tackle. He does his knee. And then he gets up again, tries to do his knee, tries to make another tackle, then tries to get up again. And, like, he's worse than hobbling, but he's just putting his body on his line. Like, I've got goosebumps and he's bloody Queenslander talking about it. Wow. But to see what he showed his teammates and what that game meant for his state, like, they're ones where you just go, I know he didn't play a long period of time, but he shouldn't have been out there with the knee injury he had, and he just kept going and trying to make tackles. If you you would have seen 1,000 times, Tatey, that replay of him trying to make 3 or 4 tackles in a row with a busted knee, and I think he missed the rest of the year that year too. So it was a big couple of plays, and that's forever in my mind.
For you, Ash, you said there was a couple that...
Yeah, as a fan, I mean, I don't get to get on the field with these guys, not very often anyway. Look, for me, I went with Mitchell Moses last year. I felt, growing up similar age to Mitchell Moses, he wasn't... I just didn't like him as I don't know him personally.
He's a cocky and arrogant kid.
Yeah, and I felt like he kicked and screamed his way out of the Tigers, but he had no accolades. And then last year, no Cleary, and he comes in, wins us an Origin, and I was like, and he stood up. Like he's obviously a great player, but that was just something else I saw from him, and I've completely changed.
Yeah.
You love heckling Moses, don't you? I think every opportunity you have to interview him, I know, just hammer him. It's so good.
He's arrogant. Just be yourself. Yeah. Talk to Michael Chemis, please.
I've grown a new respect for Moses.
I like that.
Can you let him know, actually?
Yeah.
Trust me, he still won't interview you. Yeah. I've tried to get him on the radio. He just refuses to come on.
Don't have enough money for him.
Yeah.
What about Origin moments that have kept you up at night? There could be it could be from a horror point of view or just from an adrenaline point of view. Moments in an Origin game that have just given you nightmares.
The horror moment, I can't remember. It was Hainsey's debut. I was opposite him on the wing. It was going into halftime. I think we were just up. It was a really tight game. Right on the halftime, 10 or 15 seconds to go, I get the ball at Suncorp, closest to the main stadium. I put a grubber in. Hainsey, being Hainsey, the freak that he was, trapped the ball, kicked it, towed it along, got it, scored on debut.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't obviously lose us the game, but if I could have dug myself a hole and hidden for the rest of my life, that moment would have been it. I was so embarrassed. It was just a rookie error on every level, and Hainsey made me pay big time. And he was one hell of a player, Woodsy, you're right. The moment that kept me up, just through pure adrenaline, was that 2006 final in Melbourne. That was unbelievable. Just everything we had in the series, we had guys, Josh Hannade come out of reserve grade, Adam Mogg was playing, Reece West was on the wing, Clinton Schifosky, who'd never played Origin, was playing fullback. It was just a patched up team, and we were huge underdogs, and it was Mal's first year. Pet Pricey and Darren Lockyer were all told that if we didn't win the series, their Origin careers were over. That speech from Lockyer behind the line, that kept me up for a couple of nights. So, yeah, so the good and the bad, but certainly 2006 was a real positive.
And what about Woodsy for you, and why is it when you miss the try celebration?
It's actually not that one. The nightmare that just runs in my head is the 2017 series. Game 2, I think it was Billy Slater. He just drifted across field, drops Dane Gagai under, and he scores with 3 minutes to go. We had the lead the whole game, and it's just the Queensland just doing that typical, just playing to 80 minutes and just scoring on a game they had. That was one where Jonathan Thurston's shoulder was busted, and he offered nothing all game, but then kicks that match-winning goal. Just pure class from JT. And that's one you sort of look back and go, geez, if I could rewind back in time, that is probably one night I'd love to forget and go back at halftime and see what we could fix up there. Obviously, the ones you remember, it's 2014, the incredible Queensland side that Tate was a part of. If I could go back to that moment, just when Jared Hayne was running to the crowd with his arms open, that was just we've finally done it. It's just wow. And to be in the moment that night, that was one of the celebrations of one of my favourite celebrations in my whole life. It was just a great time to be a part of.
What about you, Ash? From
there's a
Hunter's
positive.
point of view, I reckon you've got a few.
There's a positive for me. There's one that I call it my Roman Empire, and I'll just set the scene for you. It's 2014, 10 metres out. Young Aaron Woods makes a hell of a hit up. He drags a couple of Queenslands with us, plays the ball. Robbie Parra double pumps, gives the ball to Trent Hoskin, who shows and goes, slides in. The drought is over.
Not yet. We still had 5 minutes.
Doesn't matter. For me,
you
it
got
was.
goosebumps just then.
Queensland were coming hard.
I remember watching that game with a mate who was moving away. It was just me and him. We thought, we'll watch this game together because he's moving away, and was one of the best nights of my life. Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
One of my favourite nights.
Just the way it played out too. The double pump, the show and go. Everything that could possibly go right went right.
I love that.
It was good.
And it absolutely did. What about Tatey? I guess a moment that proved Origin footy is different, and it's just a different level of rugby league.
Mine's not a game. I think when you first go into camp and do your medical, back in the day, you do your medical and all the cameras would be there. So you'd have to go through and, the doctor would throw you, you'd get in your jocks, which is hilarious when you look back now. And the doc would do stretches and there'd be a million cameras around. And then you go and do your first training session and, there's thousands of people that turn up just for a training session. I saw the Maroons on the week, this week train at Sunshine Coast Stadium, and there's a couple of thousand or a few thousand people there. So I think that for me was the moment I'm like, this is a lot bigger than just a normal game of footy. It's actually bigger than a game of footy, to be honest, and it means a lot to the people. And one of the other things we used to do is we'd do the visits out to a community that had hardship. So we'd been out to Longridge, that had the drought. We went to Roma one year, and the whole town and surrounding areas would come and visit while we'd do a street parade. And yeah, it was just awesome. Like that's for me when I'm like far out, like wearing this jersey is a lot bigger than just playing for Queensland. Like it means a lot to the people. So that's for me is the time I'm like, this is a bigger than a game.
What about you, Woodsy?
For me, it was, I actually wasn't playing. I was a young kid. 2003. A man by the name of Michael DeVere coming up against. So he was in that massive Brisbane side. Obviously, he played with Tate. He made a huge line break. Darren Lockyer, teammate, tries to take him one-on-one. Lockyer just throws him over the sideline. Tallis just absolutely tries to absolutely flog him. And he gets up in a tackle, and you just see claret everywhere. The trainer comes on the field and gets the staple gun out and just starts stapling the head, and it gets stuck in there. And Mick DeVere, like, what a warrior! Just staple,
he
please.
Didn't flinch.
Get it right. But the thing was, he didn't care because he was coming up against his Brisbane teammates, and that was when years were stacked. The Broncos in the Queensland side, but he just wanted to go out there and do that Blues jersey proud. And like that's a moment to sort of say, well, the state means a lot more than a typical NRL game, and for him to do that against his own or a lot of his own teammates. That was a moment of like, wow, Origin's a different beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bringing up some gold ones at the moment. My memory's just going,
Maybe we should pump up Origin because they're doing nothing.
Mate, I've got a question for you, Woods. I've never asked anyone this. When you're playing at Suncorp, mate, is your build-up different, like you prep yourself? Like I know when we're playing in Queensland, like, I don't know, like there's just something about it. You just know you've got to be locked in, you're dialed in. Like, is it the same for you guys? Like, you know you're going to cop it, but is it, I don't know. Does it change a little bit to playing in Sydney because of the hostility that's at the ground?
It does, Tatey, because you know exactly going into that game, you're not going to get many calls. You've got to know what your role is because you dead set can't hear 2 meters to your right or left. Like because it's a boxy stadium, the sound that they make, like you said, when those doors open, the fires come out as you run past it, and you don't know if they're cheering or booing you. You're just in your own little bubble, but the crowd is going absolutely burko. I remember my first Origin, they threw beer at me. I was like, fair dinkum. For a bunch of Queenslanders I know they're tight asses, they're wasting their beer on me.
Just open your mouth and enjoy.
But like everywhere you go, like it was you got to be dialed in. You got to know what your role is, and if you miss your assignment, then you're gone because you can't hear the bloke next to you, honestly. There is no moments where you get to sit there and just, we always say enjoy that moment because you are getting heckled. You need to get there in line. You need to push up. You need to make your tackles. Whereas you blokes are used to it. Like you guys, you just love it. You feed off it. Then you just come down to Homebush. The stadium's so much more open. It's not as loud and boxy as what is at Suncorp. And like I said, you're going into a match where you're going to get not one single 50-50 call. There's going to be nothing in the ruck for you. But that's the best way to be because you got to work harder for each other.
It's so true. And I love how hard done by you are up in Queensland.
Oh, it's a G up.
What about for you, Ash? Was there a moment where...
there's a multitude of the first hit up of every Origin game, which is just unbelievable. But for me... it's got to be Tallis, Ragdoll, and Hodjo over the sideline. Yeah. And it's one of those things that you see, like you re-see it on socials or whatever, everyone stops to watch it, even if you've watched it 50 times. It's unbelievable.
That was a scary size difference between those two.
Yeah. I used to love watching Tallis's eyes roll back in the head. Never wanted to be on the end of it, but geez, you want to just watch him go. Like, Tatey, you play with him, mate. What about, can you... Just when the bull is just it's fuming. Like, do just stay out of the way, or what do you do?
Mate, I'll never ever forget. We played at Penrith one day. It was the start of the year, and I think Gordy had spoken to Wayne about. He said to Wayne that no pack fears us anymore. So we played Penrith, and it was a time I was at marker or I was at dummy half. Gordy played the ball. I passed the ball, and it's when he got stuck into Ben Ross.
Oh yes,
like mate, I was scared myself, and he was fighting Benny Ross. And I'll never, ever forget, like, mate, I was a kid. I was just in the first grade. I actually grabbed Benny Ross and grabbed Gordy. And I'll never, ever forget Andrew G grabbed me. He was an old school player. He grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and said, don't ever grab a bloke who's fighting like Gordy, your teammate. When he's letting them go, you let him go. And I was like, yes, sir. But, mate, it was like – I was just sitting there and the force that he threw him and how quick they were coming, mate. He was a scary man, mate. When he got going, he was wild.
He's one I wish it was like he was in the era where the boys were going and boxing at the same time they were playing footy, because he's one I just reckon he would have been epic.
Oh, he could throw him, big
yeah.
Tallis. Wow. Remember that Pommy bloke you just give it to? I think it was in the World Club Challenge. One of the Pommy blokes come out.
Oh,
and was calling him a convict all game.
I can't think of his name, but mate, again, he took them too. He wore a few of them, the Pommy bloke.
Yeah, and he got one back on. He got one back on Tallis too. Remember?
He did, mate. Yeah, no, he did. I remember that. I'm going to find that name. I do remember that.
I can't remember.
What about in Origin Classic Biffs? There's been plenty, and obviously they don't exist in the game anymore, and rightly so. But it is. Well, yeah. But I mean, we still love it. It was kind of, I guess, what the marketing of what Origin was back in the day, and that there was some classics. What are probably some of your favourite ones there?
Oh, I think the one at where was it the SFS when Denny Moore and John Hopewadi we got into it. I mean, it was the big one with Gary Larson.
Yeah.
Was it the SFS?
I think that might have been the Melbourne one, wasn't it?
Melbourne, I think it was Melbourne. Yeah. You're right. So Denny Moore and John Hopewadi were teammates. Like they swung 1,000 punches, not one hit. The Fords were ripping into it. Like I remember, again as a kid, you just remember sitting back watching that. Like it was, you just sit there and you couldn't believe your eyes, but it was just excitement. You're like far out. Like this is amazing. I reckon that's probably one of my favourites. Jamie Goddard too, when he knocked out Joey.
That was Cattle Dog, that was a great one.
That was a good one. And apparently Jimmy Goddard is the worst fighter in the world, but is now known as one of the greatest brawlers ever. But couldn't his life. So there's a few like that, mate. It's funny, as much as it should be taken out of the game, far out, it used to add to the theatre of it. It was awesome.
It was even like, remember the one where, it was Brett White and Steve Price, but then the best thing about it was afterwards. Remember when Lockie had tapped it, then kicked it, and then poor old Kurt Gidley had to run it back into a brick wall.
I do remember that.
He had nothing to do with the fight.
I do remember that, actually. Dragged him under the post and started wailing on him, wasn't it?
Oh, mate. And then was it that play the ball, then Justin Hodges pushes Ben Cray and he runs back 10 metres. Come on, Cray.
Oh, my God.
You don't do that.
Good old Hodgie.
I love Hodjo.
Well, the final one for you, it's a would you rather, Tatey, and it's would you rather JT or Joey? We're going to put it up on our socials, so if you are watching the podcast, you have a chance to make your claim on this one as well. But
I'm going to have to say JT because I'm a Queenslander, but far out. I only played with Joey a couple of times, and mate, he was something else. Like, he was one hell of a player, and I'm gonna say JT only because he's a Queenslander, but mate. Joey, not only was his feet on the ground amazing, his feet off it were just as good. So close second, but JT's the man.
Obvious one for you.
Yeah, I play with JT. Yeah. He's a freak. Like he's a future immortal of the game for sure. But Joey's my favourite player.
Yeah,
I'm just mate. I would love to have just run an inside ball off him or something. Please,
just once. That was
off the field too.
My first Australian camp, I walked into the Coogee in the morning, and Joey had been out all night, was in his jocks, and he greeted me, and he had a brand new tat from the King's Cross that said rock and roller or something on that. That was my first induction to Australian camp. I was just going, what the hell is going on here?
Wow. What a man. Best. Well, Tatey, your prediction for Wednesday night, just to wrap us up.
Obviously, Queensland, I'm going to say it's going to be tight. I reckon it's going to be tougher than most Origins. I think this is going to be a crack. I really do. I think both teams have been pretty quiet, but I think they're going to be all up for the fight. So Queensland in a tight one, and we need to get off to a good start. Obviously, going to Perth the next one. We don't have a great record there, so Queensland in a tight one.
All right. Well, appreciate you having on for another week. Hopefully it's not what your prediction is for the game.
Come on.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have a stoush afterwards. But thanks, mate. Good luck on Wednesday night and enjoy it.
Thanks, Screw. Appreciate it.
Well, that was a deep insight into old school Origin, and we also touched on Queensland. But New South Wales, news out of camp, Stephen Crichton, quad injury, hoping it's just a cork. That adds to obviously Payne Haas, who hasn't trained all week either with his hammy. What are you thinking about that? Is it just talk? Is it head games have started? Is this the first time we actually get some?
I'm going to say head games.
Fingers crossed it's head games. This is like what is it? The flu going through Queensland's camp.
Oh, you've been waiting for that one.
I have been waiting for it. It's been disappointing they haven't done it.
Boring. Might get it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I reckon the Queenslanders have been real soft this camp.
Yeah.
They haven't arced up once.
You heard it here
Well,
first.
there we go. Get him, Woodsy.
Mate, like on the paper, it was like the Brady bunch of Queenslanders. And they go, how can we dislike these blokes? How can't you? How do you like them?
They've lost their intimidation edge, I reckon.
Is that what it is?
Do you reckon because they got slapped last year that they're worried about coming out and saying something this year?
Well, that's never made them shy away before.
Yeah, well, Billy Slater got rattled with the glass houses, and I think he sort of looked back and said, I spoke too much in the... Like he went, first one was, we're Queenslanders. And then the next one was glass houses, and he was just buckled.
Yeah. So you reckon quiet this one, game 2, that's when we're going to start seeing some more
Well, it
bursts?
just depends on what happens. If New South Wales win game 1, they won't say a word next camp.
Well, what kind of effect is it going to make if Crichton, even with a cork?
I don't think it'll worry him one single bit.
No.
Mate, he's a phenomenal athlete. If you... They've got Campbell Graham there on standby, don't they? He's a great player himself, but arguably the best defensive centre in the competition is Stephen Crichton. I think... Look, obviously from reports, it was a cork. You can play with corks; they're not too bad. We know with Payne Haas, it's an actual strain, and he's been given up till right on the kickoff. So, and if he's out, Stefano Tucumano comes in. Look, I don't think it'll be a problem. It's just a minor little mishap. Now, I don't think it's going to disrupt the preparations at all for New South Wales.
Have you been down to training since the launch to see how the halves combos?
No, I haven't, because they've been in the Blue Mountains. It's been a little bit too far to go to, and then they went to
they're not in Coogee anymore.
yeah, crap place up north. So yeah.
So no insight.
No insight.
Nothing.
I spoke to
Nothing from your
Mitchell.
mate,
I spoke to him.
What's he said?
He said it's been a great camp. He said, because I asked him, like, what's the difference with Lodge and with Loz and Madge? And he goes, mate, it's been very similar because the only real ones that they've swapped is Loz for Madge. They've kept the same staff, the same support staff. So he said the camp's been really fun, great bunch of blokes. Really good to have Nathan in there because he's looking at Nathan like Nathan's the best player in the competition. And then he's got to learn a lot of him himself. And he just said it's just the way Nathan gets across the field, his kicking game. He's just like, wow. So, and he gets to help try complement it. Hopefully, not as many people focus on Mitchell. They focus more on Nathan, and it can open Mitchell up.
So you would say Cleary obviously directed him around the park, and you've got Moses off the back of that. Yeah,
I just think Cleary will be more on the ball. He'll play that sort of like we spoke with Andrew Johns, the direction, get him to certain points in the field. He'll do predominantly more of the kicking. I dare say he'll do goal kicking as well. But if Mitchell sees something, they're going to be open for them to go, all right, you take it. So, but the first point will be Nathan will be the conductor of the ship.
Yep.
And then Mitchell, if he sees something, he can back himself.
And
with
Mitchell, he's not afraid to be vocal. Like you watch him up against
He just put the ball on the table.
He was a young kid in first. He debuted in for the West Tigers, and he was telling Robbie Farah what to do.
And you watch
That's
him
one person you can't tell what to do.
And he played with Gutho for those years, and you see him sort of like manhandle Gutho a little bit, and like he's not afraid to be like, this is going to happen because it's
like I put a lot of crap on Mitchell, but arrogant. He's just confident. He's got to. I remember I used to tell everybody like out of Luke, Teddy, and Mitchell's the smartest footy brain out of them. Like, he was unbelievable, but he'd also back it up with his chat. Like, I need you to get here. I need you to do. Sometimes it didn't look the best way because, like, just, like a lot of arm action, a lot of swearing, but he knew where he wanted his people to be, and he knew, like, what he was setting up for, whether he was going for a wide four, which is, you got a wide short side with probably less numbers that you can attack at. He was very good at that. But that's what he's got better as he got older. He's sort of calmed down. You can see the calmness is relaying with his outside backs now, and they're getting to position a lot quicker.
He's definitely matured in that sense,
definitely
though, in calmness. And I mean, that comes with age.
It does, regardless.
Why don't we just sort of jump into what your bets are? Actually, no, you've got a description of
I do.
The fans.
Yeah, so I've got this thing called OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Not what you think it is.
Well, how much?
It's free, actually.
What are you selling?
It's free.
Feet?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you a rundown of each type of fan, so Queensland and New South Wales. Just what sort of person would follow each team.
See if you can describe them.
So I'll rattle them off. I'll try and get through them without stuffing them up.
This is going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with Queensland. Why not? Okay. First of all, you think anything below 21 degrees is winter.
Yep.
You think we call you cane toads because of the Queensland inhabitants? It's because you kind of look like a cane toad.
Ooh.
Majority of you, anyway. Origin is more important than most major life milestones, like wedding anniversaries or kids' birthdays.
100%.
Your idea of dressing up is open-toed shoes. 4X is considered craft beer. Gee, it's a nice drop. isn't
No,
it?
it's not.
I know. It was sarcasm. You think daylight saving is a conspiracy from the government? You think every player is eligible to play for Queensland because Queensland pick you, apparently. And finally, you only ever refer to yourselves as the underdogs, just in case you lose, because then you won't be wrong.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
That's a great
I like that
point.
one.
There you go, guys. And then New
Well
South
said,
Wales.
well said,
Thank
mate,
you.
well said.
You got to shit on us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fair.
You,
No,
you
yeah,
got to punch down,
Yeah.
apparently. So this is New South Wales. You think Sydney should be the capital. You're probably doing something illegal right now, but it's okay because you're probably rich. You talk nothing but shit about every other state, but manage to lose in everything that matters, like sports and cost of living, except for cokeheads per capita. Is that right? Yeah. The entire state seems to be under construction all the time. The most dangerous reptile we have are real estate agents. What have I got here? You're probably from the east, but you dress like you're from country Queensland.
Oh, the country ones kill me.
You'll claim we have the best beaches, but then refer to Penrith Beach. And finally, New South Wales produced the most amount of NRL players in the country. However, the thought of losing 8 straight has them converting quicker than a junkie switching dealers.
That one always hurts me as a New South Welshman when you get people like Greg Inglis, Israel Folau that want to be born in
They
whether
wanna be
it's
Queenslanders.
Well, in that time, you
born in the
wouldn't blame
Hunter, born in Campbelltown, and they want to go play for Queensland.
them. So that's only fans.
I like that.
And we do love fans. I don't want to shit on you, but
Yeah.
I reckon next time it's just positive for New South Wales and negative for Queensland.
100%.
nah, you got to be able to make fun of yourself.
Punch up and punch down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. Well, let's jump into Would You Back It? And we've got some nice, tidy little bets happening. With points bet as well, too, you can place a head-to-head bet, and if your team is up at half time, you win. So you get paid out early if your team is up at half time, which is great.
this for
which is
Origin
also,
too?
also Origin.
How good's this?
It's great. Also, our friends at StatMate, who we've been using throughout the whole season as well too, that is now available for State of Origin as well. You can download it on both Android and iPhone as well too. So it's your best mate when it comes to building your State of Origin multi as well as your weekend multi. So very good. Very good. So would you guys like to kick off with Origin for your first one?
Me, I'll go first. I'm going to play it safe and go New South Wales head-to-head. I'm going to go Latrell to score anytime because he scored in all of his last 4 Origin matches.
Yep.
And then I'm going to give the hammer.
Oh,
I'm going to give the hammer anytime as well because of his try-scoring record.
Okay.
And once he gets, I want to see him in open space in Origin. It's the best.
wow.
True. He's
I don't.
speed, but yeah, I would like to see him shut
And
down.
that's me.
Woodsy?
Mine's pretty similar to you, actually. I've got
Following me now,
I've
are we?
I've got New South Wales minus the start.
Okay.
I've got Zachy Lomax anytime try score because he scored 1 try in each of the games last year. So he scored 3 tries. And I'm going to go Latrell Mitchell anytime try. I think he is going to be in Rob Toya's nightmares for a long time.
Are we talking player of the series nightmares or?
If we can play all 3 games, I think could be player of the series.
I'm with you.
Big
you.
call.
And I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Because, man, I told you, I was up close with him. He's looking fit.
Yeah.
Very
he just
fit.
looks like a monster. He looks strong.
And he looks happy.
fit. He's got the
We're
glimmer.
over here. We're over here
He's
just
got the
crushing
eye.
hard.
Yeah.
Right?
He's looking
We are
real.
If you're listening or watching, Latrell, we are crushing hard.
I just hate to be right centre of Queensland.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you, like I was watching, I sat at home today. I watched a bit of the Queensland and the Origin game from last year.
Mm-hmm.
The way he just dominates his opposition, like Reece Walsh, he was ragged on last year. There's even one where the ball rolled dead. It was out of play, and he's just gone and just whacked Reece Walsh, and he's just an aggressive human. I love it.
Maybe that's why Reece Walsh has taken up boxing.
It's taking up YouTube,
Too
hasn't
soon. Too soon. All right, let's do your quick bets for the weekend. What have you got for the weekend?
I've
Woodsy,
got
you
Titan
went
Storm. So this is a really hard one because we don't know who's backing up after Origin.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Storm minus the start.
Okay.
Because you got to remember their last game before the bye was a big loss to Cronulla at
Yeah.
Shark Park, so they weren't happy with that. I'm going to go with what Ash normally does. I'm going to go Puppy
good.
2 tries,
Pup, 2 tries.
it? Oh, that's a good shout.
and hopefully Coates backs up for 1.
Okay, you want Coates in there as well.
Yeah,
I think wingers should be backing up.
because you know why?
If I'm honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's normally Woodsy's
Xavier's
call, so
Coates, he scored 5. I scored a try in all the last 5 matches against Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different work in Origin. Like, you got to go in and get pumped. It's not a game where you get a lot of good field position. So he will be battered and bruised after Origin, but hopefully he's on the come down of a big loss and he needs to get back onto a positive game after Origin.
They don't normally get rested, the Storm boys, do they?
The competition.
This is a team you would potentially rest them
But
against.
but the competition is normally a lot further apart at the moment. But a lot of the sides are so close.
They've got no choice.
Yeah, 12 points and 14 points. It's such a close competition.
Yeah. So you reckon not many teams will rest this weekend?
Don't think so. No, not this one, because a lot of them have a bye. 2 buys
true,
around
yeah.
Origin, yes.
Ash, you've gone Roosters Raiders.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. I mean, off the back of the Roosters' performance over the weekend, I'm going to go with the Roosters head-to-head. Dom Young, he'll be playing again. Depends, really. Again, it's hard. If he is playing, I'm going to go anytime try scorer.
Okay.
He scored a few in the limited matches he's played this year. And I'm going to go with Teddy as well, mainly because his lack of tries of late. I think he's due.
And he's probably going to want to have a big game after no selection Origin as well, too,
And
whilst it's
losing
on.
it. Yeah. So I'm going to go with that, really. Something play it safe, because, again, you just don't know who's going to back up. I think wingers should back up, but then again, I've never played Origin. So.
Yeah. Neither.
I would back up.
It's a tough. Origin is different.
yeah.
It's easy for me to say that I would back up.
Yeah.
As a player, you'd rather back up, but
Yeah.
you know,
Keep the momentum.
Yeah.
What if you
Screw training. Just let me back up.
Yeah. Would you rather play a game every day or a game once a week and train every day?
No, play a game every day.
Yeah.
Training
That was a
sucks
George
some
Rose
days.
special. He's like,
Yeah.
I hate training. I'd rather have an 80-minute game every day.
Also, you said that.
Just real quick, pick one, no length. Dragons Knights.
Oh, Dragons.
Dragons. Cowboys West Tigers.
Cowboys.
Cows.
Manly Broncos.
Manly.
Oh, big after that weekend. South Warriors.
Warriors.
Souths.
Okay, Panthers Eels.
Panthers.
All right. Well, Bulldogs, Dolphins, and Sharks are all on the bye.
I'll tip those 3 then.
Yeah.
2 points. Yeah, baby.
100%. Finally, prediction on Wednesday night. I know you guys are both looking forward to a New South Wales win. You think Trell Mitt as player of the match?
2010, New South Wales.
2010?
24-10.
24-10.
Trell Mitt, player of the match.
Okay. And Tady's obviously going for a tight match, but obviously Queensland on that one too. But thanks so much for joining us, guys. A big Origin special. Some good blasts from the past, Woodsy.
Great, love it. Just keep bringing it.
I know. Well, we'll just keep doing it.
I love just
Old
school rugby league. Oh my God. I
You
won't
were
sleep
born in
tonight.
the wrong era.
I won't sleep tonight. I'll go home and in bed and just talk to my missus about how good Origin was in the 90s.
Well, she'll get good sleep then.
Yeah, we'll talk her to sleep straight away.
Straight.
She'll be like, remember 2014?
Yeah.
2005. It's like making love. Watching Andrew Johns come back.
She's a lucky lady, I will say that.
Oh my God.
Other people watch other things for foreplay, but no.
That is
Woodsy's on
porn
the
for me.
2000s. Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
You should join my OnlyFans.
Oh, dear. All right. You're calling it from down here. Is that right?
Yeah, down in Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Ash, you're heading up.
I'm going to be there. If you see me on the street,
The weasel
I'm
strikes again.
I'm going to be giving rub downs, not rub and tugs, and I'll be in the stands, bright yellow, just like this.
Yo.
I've got a
like
new
it.
bum bag coming. It's a proper one.
Oh,
So,
you're
yeah.
upgrading. I
Good
like
on you,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
I'm-
going to do a preview as well of a Trainer's Mad Monday, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I'm
we'll see
looking
what
forward
comes
to
out of
that.
that.
Well, I'm heading
Okay.
out with Blocker Roach, one of the New South Wales greats. We're going all the way out to where am I going?
Mudgee.
The Mudgee, yeah. I don't even remember where. What
Are you
day it
driving
right
or is he
now.
driving?
He's driving, but
Oh,
I'm in
look
control of
out.
the playlist, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for joining us on our Oz American Aces Origin special for the NRL. We'll be back next week with another great round.
Up the Blues.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.